Yo guys, what is going on? It is Ryuga with another killer guide for you. This time our guide is going to be over how to run basic tiles as killer, as well as other fun techs that you can do in certain maps as well. On top of that, for most of these loops that we're going to be doing, after I demonstrate how to run most of these loops properly, I'm going to have a proper chase to see how fast we can either get the pallet thrown down, or I can get a hit against the survivor that I'm going against, who also happens to be a red rank survivor. So we will see how this goes, and hopefully you guys can learn something from this video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with LT walls. So most survivors approach the LT wall from right here. And I just started close because most of these clips are demonstrations, so they are set up. However, this is more than likely going to be a circumstance that occurs in everyday normal gameplay. So what happens is that you approach the survivor and they run in the straight line and vault here. The proper thing to do every single time is never go left, is to go right every single time. So when you go right, you have a lot of options that you can do. So you turn this corner and you have two choices. You either can come here and double back, or you can moonwalk. So the first thing we're going to show you how to do is moonwalk. So what you're going to do when you're chasing the survivor is get to this point right about here. So your red stain is showing over here, which gives the survivor a sense that you are going to turn and you could hit them. So they're going to revault this window. So then, after you show your red light here, what you do is you double back without changing your red light, and by then the survivor has already vaulted and you get your free hit. Alright, so the next thing you would do, as I said, is moonwalk. So this is the exact same thing. He's going to vault the window. You're going to approach from the right side, as you should every single time. And then you're going to come to this scenario again. And instead of walking to the wall and hiding your red stain, what you're going to do is you're going to immediately turn around and face your red stain completely away, so the survivor does not know where your red stain is, and he thinks that you're going to double back to this window. So instead of, him vaulting here, he's not going to vault because he thinks you turn back around. And you keep walking this way, and you turn around, and the survivor is going to be right here. Alright, and now in addition to that, there's one more thing that you can do at LT walls, and I will show you that this is something I like to do. It's going to start as a normal chase. He's going to vault his window. And then he's going to go this way. And except this time, what you're going to do is you don't lose any distance, so you should probably do this every single time, is when you turn this corner, you're going to face the complete other way. You're not going to show him your red light at all. So what this does is while you're running this way, your red light is that way. So he might hesitate on the side of this wall. So you're going to turn the corner and he's not going to know that you actually kept chasing him. He's going to see your red light, was turned there the whole way. And he's going to either hesitate or have doubts or make a wrong play. This won't always happen, but sometimes it can. So it's never, it's never a downside to try doing this because you do lose no distance when doing this at an LT wall. And alright, as I said, most of these are going to include chases like normal. These are not scripted. They are just, I hit record and said loop me for as long as you can. So we're going to start. It's going to be the same thing. He's going to vault the window, and we're just going to see what happens and how fast it takes me to get a hit. So normal thing happens. He gets his thing. He runs into the wall, but it doesn't matter. He's able to vault. We just do it. I hide my red stain. He hesitates a little bit, but that hesitation was just enough to get us a hit. So you need to take away from key moments there. So I hid my red stain, which means the fact that I hid my red stain, it caused him to hesitate right here. Instead of being further, he didn't quite keep running. So now he sees I'm here. I moonwalked again, which means he hesitated, but then I quickly flipped sides and he vaulted the window, but it was a little too late because I had already swung. So it only took me about, from start chase, not even 10 seconds to get hit. And that's starting here. Realistically, you'll probably start from a little further, but it's going to be the same scenario. A lot of these things play out very similarly. You just need to learn how to run these structures. So that's it for LT walls. Let's move on to the next structure. The next tile that we're going to talk about are random junk tiles that can spawn throughout the map. These tiles pretty much have a pallet that spawns between two sets of junk. The way to run this is to pretty much hold W and double back one time as killer, and this pretty much guarantees that they will only get about one loop out of this if played properly. So let's demonstrate how to run that here. So as you can see, the chase starts. You get about halfway around the loop and you double back, which causes the survivor to be forced to hesitate. And then there's a good chance you either hit them there or they hit you with the pallet. Either way, in just about 10 seconds, you already eliminated the loop. This is another one. This one does not spawn on all maps. I think it may only spawn on Mount Ormond, but I figured I would cover it. I will call this one a junk wall. What spawns is a random junk pile right here with a pallet, as well as a long wall. So pretty much we had a chase here, and I'm just to describe how I like to play it. So either way, even if he doesn't make it to the window, but we're going to show an example of that anyways, how to play the window is they're going to jump it, and either they can keep running or they're going to play this tile. Assuming they play the tile, what you can do when they vault the window, you pretend that you're going to cut them off on this end, but instead you double back and vault the T-wall, or not the T-wall, the long wall, and then they're going to make it to the pallet, and you have effectively already shut down the loop. That's how I would run that loop. It can go several different ways, but that more than often is how this tile is going to be ran, with at least one window vault, and then they're going to go to the pallet. This is another random junk tile, except it's going to be a normal chase that I have with them. This is not pre-scripted, it is just, I told him to run, and I was going to chase him. So as you can see, I do the same things here. I double back, and it pretty much cut off all options of him getting another loop out of this, and he throws the pallet down, so the pallet is done, and the loop is finished. The next tiles we're going to talk about are when two rocks spawn next to each other, and there's a pallet in between. There are two ways to run this. Both ways are pretty efficient because there's not a lot to do here. You can either hold W and just chase them around, which usually they'll either get one, possibly two loops if they have dead hard, but normally it's just better to hold W, and you can moonwalk as well. The first thing we're going to feature is moonwalk. So how this is going to go is you're going to, start the chase like normal. You're going to follow them. You're going to hide your red stain, and then they're probably going to hesitate and run back into you. And that pretty much guaranteed a free hit, besides it got stuck on the rock. But nonetheless, that's how that one would be ran. The other way that it can be ran is just by holding W. It's just like a normal chase, except no mind games. You just run it, and you don't even bother trying to, game it out. You just run it like normal. You hug it, and you just run it, and they only get one or two loops out of it, and they have to throw the pallet. That loop has effectively been ended in about 16 seconds. Now we have one of the more famous structures in Dead by Daylight. This is the Killer Shack. There are a lot of scenarios in which you can approach the Killer Shack and a lot of ways you can run it. A good survivor can keep you here for a while, but I'm still going to show you a general guide on how to try to mind game. So the initial way this can play out is you're chasing them and they are on this side. So how this will work is you will chase them. You know that you're not going to catch them and they're going to vault the window. So when you get to this point right here, what you can do is shine your red light inward so they know that you're coming. And then what you can do is immediately double back because they're going to vault the window, and then you can get a free hit there. That is one way that you can run Killer Shack. Another way that you can run Killer Shack is the exact same way, except for doubling back. What you do is you moonwalk, and I'll show you this right now. So the chase is like normal, but instead of going to double back, you hide your red stain that way to where when the survivor gets to the window, it's too late, they've hesitated, and they can't get the fast vault. So what this results in is it results in the player or the survivor not able to either get to the pallet or being forced to throw the pallet. So you pretty much get to here, you moonwalk. So you moonwalk, by then you see he's at the window, he's touching it, he no longer can get his fast vault, so the only choice he has is to either run and throw the pallet or to get hit. Another common way to approach the Killer Shack is from the pallet side, and there are two ways that you can run this depending on the movement of the survivor. So what you'll do is you will chase them like normal, and you will turn and you will come to this moment right here. So now you have to decide whether the survivor is going to vault this window or if they're going to try to go that way. So what you do is you come to this point right here and see if they vault. If they didn't vault, you immediately double back and get a free hit. Now this is the exact same scenario, except the survivor is going to vault. You do the same thing. You follow them here. You turn. You see that it looks like they're going to vault, so you immediately turn and follow them and get a free hit. The next structure that we are going to be talking about is going to be called a short wall jungle gym. What a short wall jungle gym is, it is where there is a pallet spawned right here, and on the other side there is an opening to where the survivor can run this way and vault a window right here. There is also an opening right over here on this side, I believe. So, how to run this? When you approach it, you always want to run it in a way where you will cut off the survivor from the window, because if they go this way, they will vault the window, so you will have to cut them off, and then follow them normally, so they will have to throw the pallet. It's a free hit there, and you cut them off from the window, and you negated the loop, which could have been a lot longer. Another way you can run this is if you approach it from the other side where they get the window. What you do is you approach it, they're going to get the window vault. But when you approach this point right here, you see them running this way, you're going to make it quite obvious that you change directions. So they're going to think that you're coming down here, so what they're going to do is they're probably going to turn back. And then you immediately turn your camera back this way and vault the window, and then they run right into you, and you probably will get it down. Or a hit. Now this is the short wall when you approach from this end where the window is. When the survivor is here, they have two choices. They can either run here and vault the window again, or they can run through here back to the pallet. They can also run here to the pallet, but that pretty much guarantees that they're not going to get any extra loops out of it. They're going to have to throw the pallet if they go that way. So most survivors are going to come through here because it is the safest route. One way to counter this is by moonwalking it to where they don't vault this window. It's a 50-50 mind game depending on how the survivor plays, but this is just one way that you can counter this. You have to turn your camera that way. They hesitate and don't vault, and by that time they lost too much momentum to get a fast vault. So you get it down here, or they make it to the pallet and throw it, thus effectively ending the loop. Now, as promised, we are going to have a normal chase with a short wall. This is non-scripted. It is a normal chase that I decided to have. I let them have free reign, and we just went to see how long the chase would last. I let him get some distance using this LT wall, and then we went into here. He vaulted the window. I used my normal strategy of doubling back, but he knows that I like to do this, so he effectively avoided it. But what I did is right here, I will show you. When I came here, I faced my light that way, effectively meaning my red light is here. When he was at that pallet, he saw me turn this way, so he might think I'm coming this way, and instead I immediately flicked back. What this did is it caused him to hesitate right there. I don't know if you were able to notice, when we turn around this pallet, he was sitting still. So he was not running. This gave us just enough distance to catch up that even if he went for the window, we got the free down. So effectively ending a short wall jungle gym in about 20-ish seconds. That's pretty good. The next structure we're going to be talking about is a long wall jungle gym. This is different from the short wall because right here, instead of the window, there is an opening. However, on this side, there is a long wall with a window. And we're going to show you how to run this, approaching from this side. So the chase starts. What you will do is you will follow them. And instead of running right through the loop, you will face them, which means they're probably going to run through here and go straight to the window. This is how most survivors will play it. So you run along the side and you make sure they vault it. So from here, you chase them like normal. And here the survivor has two choices. They can either run to the pallet or they can try to revault the window. So what you do is you turn the corner and you get the information that Bill is facing the window. He is about to vault. So you double back, effectively ending the chase. From Ironworks window, that was approximately 17 seconds, and you already got a hit. Now this is going to be the long wall again, except how this is going to work is they are going to try to window fake you. However, if you're paying enough attention, it should not really matter. It's going to be run the exact same way. You're going to come to this point. You see, it looks like Bill's going to vault. So you double back. You didn't hear a vaulting sound. So what you do is you immediately come back. Bill has ran to the pallet. And then you either get hit by the pallet or you get a free hit if they're greedy. Now pretty much the only other way that you can run this loop is if you follow them through the pallet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you follow the Bill through there. And they vault the window. You pretty much only have one choice here other than to hold W mindlessly. You saw that they went that way, so what you do is you face your person that way, your killer, your camera, your red light, and they think that you're going to go that way, so they start coming back, and you vault the window, and they effectively run into you, and you have effectively already ended the loop because you will be able to hit them. Alright, now that we have covered the long wall, we like to show how fast I can catch them in a regular chase in the long wall. This is from approaching this direction. Now from here, I have two choices. I can follow him through the pallet, or I can go this way to see if he's going to vault the window. What I do instead is I pretend that I'm going to follow him, and then I face my light away, which makes him think possibly that I'm not going to follow him. So what that does is sometimes they hesitate and you can get a hit, but that's just what I do. I always face my red light away to cause a little bit of hesitation in the survivor. It did not work. We chase like normal. I do my turn, vault the window. It does not seem like they fell for it, so we chase them like normal, and then we moonwalk again. What they decided to do is instead of go for the pallet, they decided to go through here. And then we have effectively already won the chase. The next structure that we're going to be discussing is called a seawall. A seawall is where the pallet spawns here, and there's a short wall, and there's a long wall here. Some people like to call them long wall short walls, but I will show you how to effectively run these loops. There are many ways to do it, so let's discuss each one. So this one, you're going to double back on the survivor. So if the survivor is a W gamer, what you do is you chase them. You chase them to this point. It's kind of like an L wall, T wall. You shine your red light to where they think you're coming, and then you double back, and you should meet them at the pallet and get a free hit, effectively ending the loop. This is my preferred style. This is where you do a moonwalk at the seawall. So how this works is you chase like normal, and instead of going here and turning, coming back, you hide your red stain, which causes the survivor to hesitate because they think that you have changed directions, which means you're going to run into them right here because they're going to run from here all the way back in order to prevent themselves from being hit. But really, they just fell for your moonwalk, and this has effectively ended the loop. Here, we are going to show another use of the seawall. So what you do is you approach from this side. Now this is for survivors that tend to camp pallets. What you can do is come here, hide your red stain walking towards the pallet, and then immediately flip their camera and swing into it. And no matter how good the survivor is, they will not be able to react fast enough if they have not already thrown down the pallet. So now that we have the seawall covered, we can cover the normal chase and see what happens and how fast we can get the pallet down or get a normal hit. So we approach from this way. What we do is we hide our red stain. We turn, they did not fall for it, so we hide our red stain again, and they threw down the pallet, so we have effectively ended the loop. The next structures we're going to be talking about is going to be a 4-lane. A 4-lane has a wall with a hole in it that has a pallet, and then next to that is going to be a wall with a window, and then on the other side is going to be a long wall with no window. So the best way to approach it is usually from this side. If they approach it any other way, it's going to be relatively unsafe. But what you should do is learn the structure, of course. So you're going to know the window is always going to be on this side from the pallet. So you approach from here, you try to cut them off from the window, and you follow them. And you gain distance on them. And either A, they make it through the pallet and they hit you with it, or B, they don't, and you just walk through and hit them. But from here, what you can do is you can moonwalk and either catch them like this, or they could have already migrated to this part where you can probably easily catch them nonetheless and effectively end the loop. So here's going to be a non-scripted chase in a 4-lane with me and him. So let us see how this goes. These chases are usually harder because they know exactly what you're going to do, but we'll see what happens. So they vault the window. I try to do my window tech. It did not work. They run to the pallet, they throw it down, so I double back, I hide my red stain, and they immediately came back to me for a free hit. Alright, we have effectively covered all common tiles in Dead by Daylight. So now for funsies, we're going to show you a few techs that you can do as killer to end chases a lot faster. The first one is going to be the tractors that spawn on farm maps. You can really cut this off if a survivor sits up here and get a free hit. How to do this is you walk up here, and then you walk this way and land on this hay barrel, and then swing into the survivor there, effectively getting a hit. And as I said, you walk up here, walk onto the hay barrel, and swing around, and effectively get a hit without having to do any kind of, doubling back with the window. You just get a free hit and end the chase there. Another fun trick you can do is in Asylum, where the window for this weird hemisphere thing spawns on this side. Let's say you are chasing a survivor, and they are going to vault the window on the other side. You can go up this staircase, They vault the window, and you can cut them off that way without having to go all the way through and vault this window. Also, Bill, you have gorgeous golf ball eyes. Another fun thing you can do, this is on Father Campbell's Chapel, is if this pallet is down, although it is easily mind gameable, if you would like to do something fun, you can climb onto these stairs and then swing up onto the pallet and get to the other side. That's just some fun knowledge to have. Alright, the final loop we are going to discuss are loops that are like Ironworks of Misery Window or Rented Abattoir God Window as well. So here's how you approach them and how to effectively end chases at these windows. Here's what you do. You leave. Never chase, not worth it. Just leave those loops. It's not worth chasing a survivor there, no matter how good you think you are. Other than that, that is all the loops in DBD and the fun tricks that I would like to talk about. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two on how to loop, especially if you're a new killer. These tricks should help you catch survivors at a lot of these common loops, or at least help you run them a lot better. I know at first it was hard for me to run these loops, but as soon as I learned how to, I started 4King a lot more frequently. And all you have to do is practice these, and in no time you will become a god at killer. So if I helped you, or you do enjoy my content and you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, join our community. You can join the Discord as well if you would like. And other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you live. And I will see you guys in the fall. Peace. I appreciate you guys watching.